Multiple FDA warning letters, repeated pesticide contamination, and recalled produce linked to salmonella have all been traced back to some of America's most popular grocery store carrot brands. That bag of baby carrots in your fridge right now might look clean and harmless, but buy from the wrong store. And what you're really eating is chlorpropham residue, chlorine disinfection byproducts, and bacterial contamination dressed up as farm-fresh produce. If this has been your go-to store for 5, 10, 20 years, everything we're about to expose has been in your body that entire time. Today, we're breaking down 11 grocery stores selling carrots you should never buy, including 2 that market themselves as organic or premium, plus the 2 brands that actually tested clean and are worth your money. Coming in at number 11, Dollar General. In rural towns across America, Dollar General is sometimes the only place to buy groceries within 30 miles. Millions of people over 50 rely on their packaged carrot products simply because there's nowhere else to go. That's not loyalty, that's a lack of options. And Dollar General is exploiting it. Walk into most Dollar General locations and look at the cooler section. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The shelves are half-stocked. The produce cooler, if you can call it that, hums at a temperature that feels more like room temperature than refrigeration. The FDA has cited Dollar General stores hundreds of times for improper food storage temperatures. Not dozens, hundreds. Nationwide, year after year, carrots are supposed to be stored below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. When they sit in failing coolers at 55 or 60 degrees, bacterial growth explodes. Listeria thrives in exactly these conditions. It doubles its population every few hours in a warm cooler. For anyone managing kidney disease or taking immunosuppressive medications, or families feeding these carrots to young children, listeria isn't a stomachache, it's a hospitalization. It's organ failure. It's potentially fatal. Dollar General generated over $38 billion in revenue last year. They could fix every cooler in every store in America and barely notice the expense. They don't. Because fixing coolers doesn't increase shareholder value. Your safety doesn't show up on a quarterly earnings report. A bag of carrots for $1.49. That's what your health is worth to Dollar General. The nearest hospital is probably farther away than the nearest Dollar General. Think about that next time you reach for that bag. If the only store in town can't keep the lights on in the cooler, what are the discount chains in the suburbs hiding? At number 10, Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot positions itself as the neighborhood grocery store. Honest prices, real food, simple shopping. Their whole and baby carrots line the produce bins with handwritten price tags and that small-town feel. But behind the folksy charm, Save-A-Lot runs a limited supplier model that puts cost above everything else. Fewer suppliers means less competition. Less competition means less incentive to deliver quality. And when the USDA pesticide data program sampled conventionally grown carrots from discount grocery chains, they found residues of diazinon. Diazinon is an organophosphate pesticide. It attacks the nervous system at the cellular level. The EPA restricted its residential use back in 2004 because it was too dangerous for home gardens and lawns. Too dangerous for your backyard, but apparently fine for your dinner plate. That's the regulatory gap the discount chains exploit. For adults over 50 already managing early cognitive decline, or anyone in their family with neurological concerns, ongoing diazinon exposure may accelerate neurodegenerative conditions. Research has linked chronic organophosphate exposure to reduced cognitive function in aging populations. It can also interact with blood thinners like warfarin, making dosing unpredictable and dangerous. Your doctor calibrates your medication to the milligram. A pesticide your doctor never accounted for throws that balance off. Pick up a carrot from Save-A-Lot. Feel the surface. If it's slimy, if it bends instead of snapping cleanly, that carrot has been sitting in a supply chain that prioritized pennies over freshness, honest prices, dishonest produce. Save-A-Lot saves you money on the receipt. What it costs your brain and your bloodstream doesn't come with a price tag. If the discount chains are cutting corners on safety, surely the big national brands with larger budgets do better. Don't count on it. Number 9, Food Lion. In the Southeast, Food Lion is part of the landscape. Generations of families have pushed carts through those aisles. Your parents shopped there. You shop there. Your kids probably shop there now. That kind of trust runs deep. And Food Lion has been betraying it for decades. In the 1990s, Food Lion was investigated for redating expired meat and produce. They were caught taking products past their sell-by dates, relabeling them, and putting them back on the shelf. The story made national news. Lawsuits followed. Promises were made. Then the FDA issued citations for inadequate cold chain management in Food Lion's distribution centers. The coolers that transport carrots from warehouse to store shelf weren't holding proper temperature. When the cold chain breaks, the fiber structure inside a carrot begins to degrade. The cell walls soften, the natural sugars become more accessible and absorb faster during digestion. For anyone managing type 2 diabetes or families cooking for someone watching their blood sugar closely, a degraded carrot with compromised fiber causes faster glucose absorption after meals. That means unexpected blood sugar spikes from a vegetable that's supposed to be one of the safest things on your plate. A carrot is a carrot, right? Not when the cold chain failed 3 days ago and nobody told you. Pick one up at Food Lion. It might look fine. Bright orange, firm enough to the casual glance, but snap it in half. A fresh carrot cracks clean with a sharp sound. A degraded one bends, tears, and feels rubbery. The sugar is already breaking free inside that softened structure. Food Lion fixed the headlines. They never fixed the cold chain. They cleaned up the press. They didn't clean up the process. Think the big box stores with billion-dollar logistics handle things differently? The next one on this list proves they don't. Number 8. Walmart Great Value. More Americans buy groceries at Walmart than anywhere else in the country. Great Value carrots are the budget pick for families stretching every dollar and for people on fixed incomes who don't have the luxury of shopping at specialty stores. Walmart's entire supply chain is engineered around one single principle: cost. Not safety, not quality, not nutrition, not traceability. Cost. Consumer Reports has flagged Great Value vegetables for inconsistent sourcing practices. The carrots in your bag this week might come from a completely different farm than last week's bag. Different soil, different pesticide protocols, different handling, no traceability, no accountability, just whoever offered the lowest bid that quarter. And those carrots have tested for higher than average levels of chlorpropham. Chlorpropham is a sprout inhibitor. It stops potatoes and root vegetables from sprouting during long warehouse storage. Convenient for Walmart's supply timeline. Dangerous for your liver. Chlorpropham burdens liver detoxification pathways, forcing your body to process a chemical it was never designed to handle. For anyone taking statin medications for cholesterol, or people over 50 managing multiple prescriptions simultaneously, an overworked liver can't process both the drug and the chemical efficiently. Your medication becomes less effective. Your cholesterol numbers stop improving. Your doctor is puzzled, and you blame yourself instead of the carrots. Nobody thinks to look inside the produce bag. Open a bag of Great Value baby carrots. Notice that faint chemical smell beneath the chlorine rinse. That sharp, slightly industrial edge. That's not freshness. That's processing residue you're about to eat. Everyday low prices, everyday low standards. Budget brands hide behind affordability, but what about the store that promises something better with a clean, modern label and higher prices? Number 7. Target Good and Gather. The packaging alone makes you feel smarter for shopping at Target. Clean white labels, simple fonts, that modern minimalist design that whispers premium without ever saying it directly. Good and Gather baby carrots look like they belong in a health food store. They belong on this list instead. Most Good and Gather carrots are conventional, sourced from large-scale agricultural operations that rely heavily on synthetic fertilizers and chlorine washes to keep costs manageable. Target provides almost zero supplier transparency. You can't trace those carrots back to a region, let alone a specific farm or growing practice. And the chlorine wash isn't just a gentle rinse, it's an industrial bath. Baby carrots are peeled, machine-shaped, and soaked in chlorinated water to extend shelf life and kill surface bacteria before packaging. The chlorine itself mostly dissipates during processing, but the byproducts don't. Chlorine reacts with organic matter on the carrot surface and creates disinfection byproducts that can irritate and inflame the digestive lining over time. For anyone already dealing with acid reflux or chronic gastritis, or people over 50 whose digestive systems are naturally more sensitive to chemical irritants, those byproducts make existing conditions measurably worse. That burning sensation after a meal, that reflux that won't quit even with medication. It might not be the spicy food you blamed last night. It might be the carrots you thought were the safest thing on your plate. Target built Good and Gather to look like the healthy alternative. Pretty labels, same industrial problems underneath. At least the organic labels are honest about what's inside their bags. Right? The next brand on this list will destroy that assumption completely. Number 6. Safeway Organics. The green label, the word organic printed in bold, reassuring letters. The price premium that makes you feel like you're doing the right thing for your family. Safeway's O Organics line exists to capture the health-conscious shopper, the one who reads every label, the one who pays more because they believe organic means truly safe. It should mean that. It doesn't always. O Organics sources from numerous third-party farms spread across multiple states and regions. Organic certification audits on some of these partner farms have revealed inconsistencies in the verification of pesticide-free growing claims. The audits are supposed to confirm that no synthetic pesticides ever touch the crop. But when auditors visit once a year and the farm ships product 52 weeks a year, 51 weeks go completely unchecked. That's not oversight. That's a gap wide enough to drive a truck through. For people who specifically chose organic carrots to protect aging kidneys, or anyone taking ACE inhibitors for blood pressure, the promise of pesticide-free produce isn't a lifestyle preference. It's a medical decision. It's part of how you manage a chronic condition. Residual synthetic pesticides increase renal workload and create oxidative stress on already compromised kidneys. They make blood pressure harder to control, even when you take your medication exactly as prescribed. The pills fight to bring your numbers down. The carrots quietly push them back up. You do everything right. You pay extra. You read the label carefully, and the label lies. Hold an O, organics carrot, up next to a conventional one. They look identical, because sometimes they practically are. Organic failed you at Safeway. Surely the warehouse club with the massive loyal following does it better. If you're a Costco member, brace yourself. Number 5. Costco Kirkland, the 5-pound bag, the unbeatable unit price, the satisfaction of stocking up for the entire month in a single trip. Kirkland baby carrots are a warehouse staple, and Costco members swear by them without hesitation. But that massive bag creates a problem most shoppers never stop to consider: volume. 5 pounds of carrots sit in your refrigerator for weeks, some of them for a month or even longer before you reach the bottom of the bag. And every single carrot inside was processed with a chlorine rinse that produces trihalomethanes. Trihalomethanes are disinfection byproducts. The EPA has specifically flagged as a concern in drinking water. They form when chlorine reacts with organic material on the carrot surface. The byproducts remain on the produce long after the rinse is complete. Long-term trihalomethane exposure is associated with increased cholesterol oxidation and cardiovascular inflammation in peer-reviewed research. For anyone over 50 with heart disease risk factors, or families with a history of cardiovascular problems, eating chlorine-treated carrots daily for years adds a chemical burden your heart doesn't need and your doctor doesn't know about. Open that Costco bag after 2 weeks in the fridge. Smell it. That slightly sour tang beneath the vegetable sweetness, that white chalky film forming on the carrot surfaces, that's not natural aging or harmless drying out. That's chemical residue slowly breaking down inside your crisper drawer. Costco saved you a trip to the store. It didn't save you from what's lurking inside the bag. Bulk buying feels smart, but 5 pounds of contaminated carrots is just more contamination per dollar. If this is helping you see the grocery aisle differently, hit subscribe. It's free, and it means you'll never miss these investigations. 5 brands down. 5 brands you've probably bought this year. It gets worse. The next brand carries the most trusted name in natural food retail, and it still can't keep its carrots clean. Number 4. Whole Foods, 365 brand. Whole Foods changed how America thinks about groceries forever. The store that made organic mainstream. The place where shopping feels like a wellness ritual. Soft lighting, wooden crates, handwritten chalkboard signs above every display. Everything about Whole Foods tells you the food inside is better than what you'd find anywhere else. The 365 House brand carries that halo effect everywhere it goes. It shouldn't. Despite premium pricing that makes your wallet wince, 365 brand carrots are not always locally sourced. They travel long distances from farms you've never heard of through sprawling distribution channels that require chemical preservation methods the Whole Foods aesthetic conveniently hides from view. Some 365 carrots have tested positive for residues of fungicides used during shipping and cold storage. Fungicides applied to keep the carrots looking farm fresh across 1,000 miles of highway and days of warehouse time. Those fungicide residues don't just sit harmlessly on the surface waiting to be washed off. They disrupt your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in your digestive system that help you absorb nutrients, regulate immunity, and critically, process the medications you take every day. For people taking heart or diabetes medications daily, or anyone over 50 whose gut health directly affects how effectively prescriptions are absorbed into the bloodstream, a disrupted microbiome means your pills aren't working the way your doctor intended. You take metformin faithfully for blood sugar. You take a beta blocker for your heart every morning. And the organic-looking carrots from Whole Foods are quietly undermining both. The Whole Foods name, the Amazon delivery convenience, the 365 logo. None of it guarantees clean produce. You're paying $8 a bag for the feeling of safety, not the reality of it. The name sold you trust. The lab results tell a very different story. We're past the brands most people suspect. Now, come the ones nobody questions. That's exactly what makes them dangerous. Here's where it gets personal. Number 3, Aldi. Aldi has become the grocery success story of the last decade. Clean stores, lightning-fast checkout, prices that make name-brand supermarkets look like a scam. Their produce section is the reason people drive past 3 other grocery stores just to get there. Carrots fly off Aldi shelves because they're cheap, but Aldi's supplier model is built on rapid rotation. They switch farms and distributors constantly, sometimes weekly, to maintain the lowest possible price point. That means when a contamination problem surfaces, tracing it back to the source is nearly impossible. Aldi has issued multiple voluntary recalls on produce items due to potential contamination. Voluntary, meaning they found the problem themselves and decided to act on it. But how many problems slipped through? How many shipments made it to your kitchen before anyone thought to test them? The recall you hear about is the one they caught. The ones they missed are already in your body. For people with compromised immune systems, or anyone over 50 managing autoimmune conditions alongside daily medications, bacterial contamination from untraceable supply chains isn't a mild inconvenience. It's a genuine health emergency that can land you in the hospital. And the lack of transparent sourcing creates another invisible threat most shoppers never consider. Without farm-level traceability, you simply cannot know which chemicals were used on your carrots. You can't avoid produce treated with substances that spike blood sugar or burden your kidneys. You're trusting a company that can't tell you where your food came from last Tuesday. Aldi saves you money at the register. But savings mean nothing when the real cost is hidden inside the produce bag. No paper trail, no accountability, just low prices and crossed fingers. What's in your cart says Aldi. What's in your body is anyone's guess. Aldi can't trace their own carrots. But the next brand on this list has a traceability problem and a contamination record to match. Number 2, ShopRite. Across the Northeast, ShopRite is as familiar as the changing seasons. Generations of families have trusted their produce department without a second thought. Farm fresh and affordable, that's the promise printed on every weekly circular and every store banner. The reality hiding behind that promise is genuinely alarming. ShopRite stores have received repeated citations from both the FDA and state health departments for temperature control violations, specifically in their produce sections. Temperature violations mean the cold chain broke, and when the cold chain breaks for carrots, bacteria that should remain dormant wake up and multiply at frightening speed. ShopRite's store-brand carrots have been linked to recalls involving potential bacterial contamination, including salmonella. Salmonella in carrots, a vegetable most people eat completely raw, dipped in hummus at a party, packed in school lunchboxes for children, handed to toddlers as a healthy snack, sliced into salads that sit on the counter during family gatherings. For people over 50 taking blood pressure or immunosuppressive medications, or families feeding raw carrots to young children, salmonella infection doesn't stop at a stomachache and a bad weekend. It leads to hospitalization, dangerous dehydration that overwhelms aging kidneys, acute kidney injury. In severe cases for people with already weakened immunity, it is fatal. Walk through ShopRite's produce section on any given afternoon. It looks clean enough. The misters spray on schedule. The carrots are bagged neatly in tidy rows. But you can't see the temperature logs from the back room. You can't see what happened during the overnight shift when the cooler alarm went off and nobody responded for hours. Farm fresh, FDA cited, both printed in the same store. ShopRite circulars promise savings every week. They don't mention the recalls, the citations, the bacteria breeding in the back. We've covered 10 stores now. 10 places you've probably bought carrots this year without a second thought. But the number one spot goes to a brand that millions of families trust every single week. And what's hiding in those bags should concern everyone in America. Number 1, Kroger, the largest traditional grocery chain in the United States. Nearly 3,000 stores across 35 states. More American families buy their weekly carrots from Kroger than from almost anywhere else in the country. Affordable, convenient, always in stock. The carrots are always right there in the produce section, waiting for you. And backed by a company that has received multiple FDA warning letters regarding produce handling practices. Multiple. Not one oversight. Not a single bad inspection. Repeated federal warnings about how they handle the fresh produce that millions of families put on their dinner tables every single night. Kroger's conventional carrots routinely test positive for pesticide residues in federal sampling. The USDA pesticide data program has detected linuron and chlorothalonil on Kroger-sourced carrots. Linuron is an herbicide linked to endocrine disruption that interferes with hormone function. Chlorothalonil is classified as a likely human carcinogen by the EPA, a likely carcinogen, on the carrots you buy every single week. From the grocery store you trust without question. For adults over 50 already managing chronic conditions, or anyone on ACA inhibitors for blood pressure, chronic low-level pesticide exposure creates persistent oxidative stress on the kidneys. Your medication tries to lower your blood pressure every day. The pesticide residue fights it every step of the way. You wonder why the numbers aren't improving at your checkups. Your doctor adjusts the dosage upward. Nobody looks at the carrots sitting innocently in the fridge. Kroger could source cleaner produce from verified farms. Kroger could test more aggressively at every stage. Kroger could prioritize the health of the families who keep their 3,000 stores open and profitable. They prioritize the price point instead, every time. America's biggest grocer, America's biggest gamble hiding in your produce drawer. The FDA warned them. They kept selling. You kept buying. That ends today. Drop a comment if Kroger is where you buy your carrots right now. Let's see how many of us have been trusting this chain with our health. 11 stores exposed. Pesticide residues, bacterial contamination, broken cold chains, and chemical byproducts hiding in bags that look perfectly safe on the shelf. But don't give up on carrots entirely. Two brands prove you can still eat clean produce every day. Bolthouse Farms. Bolthouse grows their carrots in the rich soil of California's San Joaquin Valley. Controlled irrigation, carefully managed fields, and a process they own from seed to shelf. That's not a marketing phrase on a label. It means Bolthouse owns the dirt, plants the seeds, harvests the crop, washes, packages, and ships the final product themselves. No mystery suppliers rotating in and out. No untraceable middlemen cutting corners when nobody is watching. Every carrot has a story they can actually tell you. Their carrots consistently score among the lowest in pesticide residues on USDA testing cycles. Not absolute zero, because almost nothing in conventional agriculture tests at perfect zero, but the lowest, consistently, year after year. The cleanest conventional carrot available on the American market, and they hold SQF Level 3 food safety certification. That's one of the highest global food safety standards in the entire industry. Third-party auditors inspect their facilities, their handling processes, and their entire supply chain regularly. For people over 50 managing cholesterol or blood pressure with daily medication, or anyone who simply wants fewer unknown chemicals passing through their liver and kidneys every day, Bolthouse's seed-to-package traceability means fewer unknowns in every single bite. Open a bag, snap one in half, listen to that clean, sharp crack, taste the natural sweetness. That's what a carrot is supposed to be. Earthbound Farm Organic. If you want to go a step further and remove synthetic pesticides from the equation entirely, Earthbound Farm has been producing organic carrots at commercial scale since before most American grocery stores even had an organic section. They were one of the first large-scale organic carrot producers in the country, and they haven't cut corners or compromised their standards to stay competitive in a crowded market. Every carrot is USDA certified organic. No synthetic pesticides applied at any stage. No synthetic fertilizers in the soil. Every batch gets verified through independent third-party testing, not an in-house lab running friendly numbers and reporting what the marketing team wants to hear. Genuinely independent verification with full accountability. They carry both the USDA organic seal and non-GMO project verified status, with complete lot traceability, so if anything ever goes wrong, they can tell you exactly which field, which harvest date, which shipment. That's the transparency Safeway's O Organics cannot deliver. That's the accountability Aldi doesn't even attempt to provide. For people carefully watching their kidney health or anyone on beta blockers or metformin who needs to know their food isn't silently undermining the prescriptions keeping them healthy, Earthbound Farm offers the closest thing to certainty you can find in a grocery store produce aisle. Genuinely pesticide-free produce that supports your body instead of quietly stressing it. Hold one next to an O Organics carrot side by side. They might look exactly the same. The difference is everything you can't see. The testing, the traceability, the commitment to actually being what the label promises. Your body knows the difference even when your eyes can't tell. 11 stores, 11 lies, one refrigerator that needs cleaning. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.